Hello everyone, it's Disarray here and welcome back to more home. So we just made it out of the woods and we're heading to I don't know where. We're just going to go ahead and head there. And we still have our weird glitchy companion going on. I didn't check to see in the footage if that actually came up on the screen. I hope it does because I don't want to appear to be a crazy person, but as I stepped through the gate, I suddenly recognised the auto parts factory where I had worked as a machinist for all those years. The plant had closed almost 3 years ago now. Times were better then. I thought I could hear a faint rustling behind me. Maybe it was just the wind. I guess let's... Oh, okay, so we've got two directions. We can go through a massive hole in the fence or through this door. I guess let's go through the door. I don't know. Just preference, I suppose. Oh, this is a big area, it looks like. Okay. One of the lockers hung open. Its contents were tossed around like someone had been looking for something. Danger sign. The door was locked shut and there was a little electronic box under the handle. A sign was pasted to the front that said, "Danger, closed for repairs." And we have a weird looking power type thing, I suppose. There was a large power box with 5 lights on it. Cables burst out of the box, snaking off to other parts of the factory. The metal was starting to wear and cobwebs had collected on the corners. The box wasn't receiving power. Okay, so this looks like another puzzle maybe. The door was locked tight. It seemed to be connected to the power box beside it. So I'm guessing we can't go that way until we've figured out this power thing. I really quickly want to go and explore what was through that hole. Okay, see if there's anything, like, huge. Oh, another dead body. Well, we would have missed that, wouldn't we, guys, if we hadn't come back here? I found the body of a security guard just doing his job, no doubt. His face was covered with blood from some kind of head wound. I wondered, was this flashlight his? Maybe. We're just carting around evidence, like nobody's business. Dug into the ground was a cracked old watch. First my wallet, and now this. Did I retrieve my watch? Again, it is mine, so there's no reason not to. The watch was useless, but I put it on my wrist anyway. Just for the sake of it, okay. So, we picked up our watch. Let's go back in here and see if we can fix this power problem that we've got going on here. There's nothing on this floor, it doesn't look like, so let's go ahead and check upstairs. Every part of this plant smelled old and rotted. I noticed the old bulletin board on the wall. I guess let's look at that, seeing as we noticed it. The board contained yellowed clippings of newspaper cartoons and notices. There were notes to and from the guys that worked here. One of them was to Norman, who was one of the older guys on the line. Can I read the note, or... I guess not. What's in here then? Oh, this looks promising. A power panel. Looked like it was shut off. Did I push the switch? Yes. Do I have to push it again? The power panel still wasn't working. Did I try again? Yes. There we go. Okay, they seem to like doing the whole thing where I have to do things multiple times for them to work. The open locker was stuffed with dirty work clothes and old boots. There was a photo of a woman taped to the inside, but it was scratched out and the face was unrecognisable. Okay. Oh, look, there's another one. It's a good thing we came in here, huh, guys? A power panel. Looked like it was shut off. Did I push the switch? Yes. Okay, that one worked straight away, thankfully. What's over here, then? It was shut tight. There was a rusty-looking card slot on the side. Right, we don't have any cards, so I'm guessing that's not a thing we can do right now. Let's go ahead and leave this particular area. And head over here. Oh, there's more stairs. And a table. Our old break table. The layer of dust and grime only made seeing this sting more. So I'm guessing this place has been closed down for a while and we used to work here. More lockers and a barricaded door. The door had been hastily boarded up. We don't have anything to fix that just yet. Right. The door in this locker was dented like someone had punched it. There was a horrible smell of long-abandoned lunchbox. Oh, I can't read anymore. Too much reading. Another panel that I hoped could help me get the power back on. Okay, that one worked straight away. Fantastic. A utility shelf crammed with mismatched tools and items. There was a claw hammer on the shelf. Yes! That would be perfect for unboarding that door. As I took the hammer, I noticed it wasn't as dusty as the rest of the tools on the shelf. That means that this was what was used to board up that door in the first place, probably. And what's this? The locker was a complete mess. Hidden at the bottom, though, was a magnetic card. Yes, I do want that. I slipped the key card into my pocket. I want to get in that door and see what's what. Another panel that I hoped could help me get the power back on. Yep. Okay, this one needs to be done more than once. And again, apparently. Yes. Thank you. Yep, I want to push the switch. Stop asking me. Stop asking me. Thank you. Right, let's get out of here. So now we have 2 extra places we can possibly head. And I think the door might be open by now. I'm not sure. We have pushed a ton of switches. Where was I? I can't remember. No, here we go. I struck with the hammer. The old wooden boards came apart easily. After I'd removed the planks, I left the hammer on the floor. Because hammers are never useful for more than one thing, apparently. We might have needed that for something else. This was my locker. There in the factory. It stank of booze. There was a picture of Rachel on the inside. It looked like it had been torn up. I thought I'd taken that picture home when the factory closed. Guess not, mister. There was a mess of empty booze bottles. I wondered if that man in the house had something to do with this. He sure had a lot of alcohol at his place. Yet we don't recall him actually working there, so why would we assume that? It's probably our booze. Our locker stank of booze, so that's a thing. Where was this other door then? I think it was over here. I really want to explore as much as I can. Okay. I think it was this door at the end. The key card I found seemed like it would pass through this reader. Did I use the key card? Sure. Okay, what's in here then? Oh. There was some kind of ventilation hatch there. It looked like I could jump to the room below. My leg hurt enough as it was, but I couldn't see another option. I'm going to leave that for a second. I was too chicken to jump down that broken ladder before. Why do it now? There had to be another way. Okay, because I haven't fully explored this area. Oh, and there's nothing to explore, so I guess let's just jump down. I'm not worried about hurting you. It sounds really mean, but yeah, let's jump. Oh man, my leg hurt like hell. I just want to see what's in here. Don't mind me. There was a crumpled up letter on the floor. It had been scratched out heavily, and it was hard to make out. Did I try to read the letter? Yes. Most of the letter was violently scratched out with what looked to be a ballpoint pen. All I could make out was need to. Just don't. Drinking. Need. Norman. Wait, was this written by Norman? Is there anything else? Here we go. The bottom of the ventilation hatch hung open. It was pretty high up. I wasn't sure if anyone could have got back up there. I guess let's try the door then. I stepped out of the factory, glad to be rid of its smell of its memories. I couldn't stop thinking about that room with the bottles in it. Oh, I didn't get to explore the room that I opened with the power switches. Oh, that's sad. Was that guard I found outside really drinking up there? What about Norman? And who had routed through all those lockers? I couldn't tell where I was as I looked around, but I figured I needed to get to a road, get my bearings. Maybe Norman could help. His store wasn't that far from the turnoff to the factory, if I remembered correctly. Oh, I'm sad. I didn't think that would, end the factory portion of the game. But I suppose what's done is done. We can only just try and get through. What are these noises? I don't like them. Okay, can't go that way. Into another building, which, okay. I thought it was going to be another building where we weren't supposed to be because we have a habit of doing that. The garbage bin was a disgusting mess of rotten food and slick black bags. I saw a thin greenish corner poking out from one of the bags. It was my driver's license. It looked damaged. Yes, of course we took it back. I cleaned the card off as best I could. It looked pretty beat up. I was amazed to have found my credit card and now this. I tucked the card into my wallet next to my credit card. Okay, so we have everything back in our wallet, it appears. Sounded like it was going to start raining again. Well, I guess let's get out of the rain as quick as possible. I'd entered Norman's place. This was the back of the store that he ran. It was oddly quiet, except for the faint sound of a television. This is really massive and echoey. And this doesn't look like a store at all. What's this? The entrance to the front of the store was locked from the inside. Looked like I couldn't just pop it open. It needed a key. There was a bit of blood on the keyhole. Wow, okay. That's normal, I guess. What's over here? We're just breaking and entering into everyone's places. What the hell? One of Rachel's old autumn coats hung on a rack. That was Norman's bedroom, wasn't it? What was this doing here? Oh, maybe she was having an affair. And so we killed her because we didn't like what she did. There was a well-maintained gun cabinet here in Norman's room. I didn't know much about guns, but it looked like he kept a few hunting rifles. Maybe that's where the gun came from that we found quite near the beginning. Okay, everything's getting a bit more, you know, interesting. TV. The TV still flickered some indecipherable channel. And there's a body. Oh no, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Norman, my co-worker and one of the few friends I had in this town, lay dead beside his armchair. His face and shirt were covered in blood. It looked like he'd been killed trying to get up. His eyes were still wide with shock. I think we killed him, guys. Norman, what was Rachel doing here? Why did you have her coat? Norman, maybe you deserve better. You probably did. Did I close his eyes? Of course I did. He doesn't deserve this. I closed his eyelids down, shuddering as I did so. I wasn't sure if I wanted to give him peace or if I just couldn't stand to think anymore about what was going on. Anything else? We're just going to leave his body there. No worries. Not going to call the police to collect it. I guess this was Norman's kitchen table. He kept it clean enough, but there were water rings from 2 cups still there in the wood. Everything is heavily pointing towards Rachel coming here and staying. The kitchen trash bin smelled fresh. I didn't dig through that mess, did I? Sure, why not? I found a hairpin amongst the rotting food and trash and pocketed it. Oh, we could pick a lock with that, maybe. Nothing else in here. Oh, I guess because we don't have the store key, we could use this to get into the store. You know, assuming that our character is some kind of master lockpicker. Like Jill Valentine. The master of unlocking, as it were. I used the hairpin to pick the lock. The hairpin snapped in half, so I threw it away. The general store was small, but it was clean. It had the usual things: postcards, snacks, magazines, and canned goods. I never went there much. Rachel usually stopped by after work if we needed anything. The register was mostly empty, and a fat stack of travel magazines sat beside it. Damn it, I thought we could get some money. Right, anything else? The icebox seemed to be unplugged. It must have been off for a while. Most of its contents were half melted. Ew, I don't like melted ice cream. There were various postcards from the area, especially from the tourist traps. One of the postcards showed an old black and white photo of the water tower. It looked to be in much better shape then. Yeah, why would you want a postcard of a water tower? That's not really what I would want to see on the front of a postcard. What else would I be forced to endure before the end? Seeing Norman up there dead, it turned my stomach just to think of it, but I couldn't put it out of my mind. How was he involved in all this? This was getting worse and worse. I was starting to feel incredibly vulnerable. As I stepped out into the rain, I realised how close I was to home. I hoped I would soon find my answers. Okay, it looks like we're close to home then. There are multiple, what looks like back garden doors. It was locked, this wasn't the right gate. Okay, so we have to try each one just to check if it's our house. The gate was locked tight, this wasn't my house. What about this one? I guess it is our house. Was there anything further down the alley? Sorry, I need to... Oh, damn it. That door only led me back. I had to find my house. I wanted to know if there was anything else. Gosh darn it. Right, the gate was locked tight. No. What's this? The neighbourhood's local postbox. A letter was sticking out as if someone hadn't pushed it all the way in. I knew it wasn't right, but did I look at... No, it's not ours. It's illegal to read other people's posts, isn't it? I didn't touch the letter. I had more pressing concerns. I had to get home. Don't read other people's mail. I had the wrong gate. Right. Why would our gate be unlocked, though? Anybody could just walk in. Okay. I'd entered our backyard. The rain gave me a terrible sense of foreboding, and it chilled me through my clothes. I was expectant, but also afraid. Okay. This could be the climax of the game, everyone. Hopefully Rachel is okay. I held my breath as I approached my back door. I was terrified to step inside. The house was painfully quiet. The only sound was my own breathing, ragged and strained. I flicked the light switch by the door. The power was off. That is quite unusual. I remembered having breakfast here on this very table. Was that yesterday or sometime before? Well, we don't know how long we were in that strange house, do we? Alright, what's this room? The door to the basement, it was locked. Where had I put the damned key? Why would I lock my own basement? Doesn't make any sense. There was a small pile of mail on the floor in front of the mail slot. How long had I been away? Why hadn't Rachel picked this up? Most of the contents were bills. There was a credit card bill there. Did I open it? Sure. I ripped the bill open and read it. To my surprise, it said something about cancelling my credit card due to non-payment. What the hell? So maybe we'd been there for a really long time. Front door was locked. I couldn't go out, though I needed to see if Rachel was here. So I guess there's no leaving until we find Rachel. The door was stuck shut. There was an old-fashioned keyhole underneath the handle. Why have I locked all of these doors? I don't understand why people lock doors in their own house, apart from the bathroom. That makes sense, but you know. I had found the last missing piece from my wallet, the old photo of Rachel. It stared back at me, reminding me of better times. It didn't make me feel terribly comfortable. Did I keep it anyway? Yeah, sure. I replaced the photo in my wallet, feeling like I'd got part of my life back. Still, the image made me uneasy. Why had I thrown it away? Because we were mad at her for cheating on us, clearly. Our television. I had purchased it before I knew I was going to lose my job. I felt pretty guilty about it afterward, but by then it was too late. I don't know, some places have returns policies. You could have sorted that out. Alright, I guess let's just go upstairs. Can't do anything else down here. Ooh, smashed mirror. Our hallway mirror had been smashed, its pieces scattered around the floor. That is unusual. You'd think we would remember some detail like that. Our sink, which needed to be replaced. One of the taps always stuck, but I hadn't got around to fixing it yet. And a bathtub. We were lucky enough to get a house with one of those wonderful old claw-footed bathtubs. Yes, because that's the most important thing when you buy a house. You need to check that they have claw-footed bathtubs. Because regular baths just don't work the same. Okay, what's in here? My laptop had been left on and only had a tiny bit of power left. On the screen was a website about the old water tower. There was a key in the top drawer of my desk. Did I take it? Sure. I pocketed the key. Right, so that's either the key to the basement or the key to that stuck door with the fancy old-fashioned lock. Or there could be another locked door that I'm just not encountering yet. What's in here? The books there were half mine, half Rachel's. Hey, now that I looked more closely, it looked like the man in that house had some of the same books as I did. Maybe she was cheating on us with multiple people. There was a suitcase on the bed. It was Rachel's. I remembered it from that trip we took out west. Did I open the suitcase? I guess so. I wasn't sure what to make of the suitcase's contents. Inside were a few days' worth of clothes, some toiletries, and a train ticket. Ooh. I checked the date and time. It matched the receipt I found back in those horrible sewers. What was this? Rachel, who are you running away with? Well, I'm pretty sure it was probably Norman at this point. I mean, if you haven't figured that out yet, then geez. Geez, mister. The door was stuck shut. Okay, well, it's not for this. It must be for the basement then. Okay. I unlocked the basement door. There were old Christmas decorations in the box. The garbage bags were stuffed with old paint cans and supplies. There was a dirty old key here. Did I take the key? Sure. I took the small key and tried to remember what it unlocked. There were old clothes, tools, and other things we obviously hadn't thrown out yet. Anything else? Ooh, this looks dodgy. I'd put up this divider wall last summer so we could create a separate room in the basement. I hadn't finished it yet, so the door was stuck, and the drywall was poorly installed. I might have been able to break through if I found something heavy enough. Okay, so I could possibly break through the drywall and find something. But first, I guess let's check this room upstairs. The grimy key I had found in the basement unlocked the door. It looked like the room had been tossed around. The furniture was a mess. Did somebody break in here? There was an old crowbar. Okay, so that could be used on the drywall, I suppose. I lifted the heavy crowbar. I appreciated its weight. There's nothing else in here, so... We literally had a room devoted to a crowbar. A crowbar and plants, it would appear. Right, so we need to go back into the basement. What could be through this drywall, then? Did I break through the wall with the crowbar? Yes. With a heave, I swung the crowbar at the wall. I smashed a hole large enough to step through. As I stepped through the broken wall, my breath caught in my throat. This was it. Was Rachel down there? Was she okay? Why would we have put the drywall back up, though? If Rachel was potentially down here. That doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me. Oh, there's blood. That doesn't bode well. Don't look. Oh dear. A filthy-looking pile of rags had been dumped in the corner. The stench of them was awful and made my eyes water. I was terrified to even touch the pile, to see what lay within, but I knew I had to. I'd come this far. After all this searching, after all I had seen, when I looked within the rags, did I finally find my Rachel? Oh, okay, so we get to actually pick what we found in there. I'm going to go ahead and say yes, because that seems like the most likely answer. It was worse than I could have possibly imagined. Within the folds of that rotten-smelling, heavy fabric was the pale, dead figure of my darling wife. What struck me most was that she wasn't bloody or torn apart. Rather, she was covered in sickly green bruises, and her windpipe had been crushed. The real horror was that whoever had killed her had done so intimately, with bare hands. So this is what had been gnawing in the back of my mind this whole time. This is what I was afraid of. I thought about all I had seen and wondered if any of it could help me figure out who had done this. And when I couldn't stay there any longer, I stepped away on my shaky legs and made my way back upstairs. Reluctantly, exhausted from my journey, I could no longer resist the urge to close my eyes. Again, like, you would have called the police or something. If he did kill her, he has no recollection of doing so, so why would you just leave the body down there and just go to bed? Maybe I would use some of Rachel's travel books and find some place to go. It was my wallet with its contents intact. Either I dropped that stuff or somebody else did. Maybe I was sleepwalking again, or maybe somebody stole it from me. Norman's store, that forest, the water tower. Was I at those places before? Yes. I didn't see how it could have happened any other way. I must have been the one to lose my wallet and its contents. But what does that mean? It means I've decided that you killed her, and that the game is reflecting as such. Within the few broken pieces that remained of that mirror, I could see my face had grown pale and weak. I couldn't bear to look again. It was like I didn't actually expect a reflection. I felt empty and drained. Maybe we have to leave the house now? I don't know. Or do we have to come in here? From now on, I'd have no one to get angry with me for stupid things like buying this TV. Oh, okay, we're stuttering again. Guess let's head downstairs. I have a feeling that we're meant to leave now. The mail still sat there, heaped on the floor. How long had Rachel been lying in the basement? I couldn't leave, not until I had thought about this some more. I needed answers. Okay, so we're just supposed to look at everything again? Maybe? I couldn't go back down, not until I'd gone over everything. I needed to make sure I was perfectly clear. Okay, so I guess we just have to explore all of the places that we'd already explored and see what he thinks about them this time. My old office safe sat on the floor. It used a digital passcode lock. Did I try to open it? I suppose so. The safe used an 8-digit code. Okay, I don't know the code, so we're just gonna... No, that wasn't it. Damn, I couldn't remember. Well, of course it's not gonna be Y. I leafed through the notebook I had taken from the forest. In it were the names that had been written down. Okay, so we read the names. I recalled the names I saw scratched out on the old desk deep within those musty tunnels. Was the man in that house really up to something? Okay. So I think there were a couple of places upstairs that we have yet to check. Alright, we check the mirror. The reflection in that grimy glass was only a shadow, a whisper. I still loved the old-time charm of that claw-footed bathtub, though it seemed like cold comfort then. Okay. I don't know why he feels he has to reinvestigate. I think that's a real problem in this game. Like, I don't want to go back over things that I'd already looked at. It was the keycard I found in the factory, the one that allowed me to slip through that door. It seemed to me that it was probably Norman's, but if that was true, what was he doing back at the plant? Did I think Norman was going back to the factory? No. No, somebody else was using that locker room, but who? The laptop had finally run out of power. That's a shame. We could have used that for some investigations. Right, is there anything else up here? I'm pretty sure we've explored everything. Yeah, because this is the room that we woke up in, so we definitely explored here. Was there anything? I don't think we checked the TV again. I think that was this way. Possibly. Just thinking about... Oh, no, we did check... Yeah, okay. We did check the TV. Because he said, oh, nobody will be able to yell at me about buying televisions again. It seemed like I had seen all there was. Maybe I thought I was ready to go back into the basement. Maybe there wouldn't be anything for me to find, but I had to take a last look. Maybe she's gone. Now that I stood there, I realised I couldn't go back into that room again. I had already sinned too much. Well, then why would you send me down here? That's so mean. Okay. Can I leave? There was nothing for me here anymore. No reason to stay in that house. Did I leave, never to return? I guess so. Living in this town hadn't been easy. The plant had helped in some way to stay grounded. It kept me in line, gave me something to do, and helped me get away from my past. When the factory closed, everything changed. I guess that was when I had started sleepwalking, disappearing for hours at a time. I had MRIs and piles of doctor's reports, but nothing seemed to help, not even drinking. But I swear I had tried to give it up, I know it. The sleepwalking never really went away, though. But I know Rachel had tried, I know she had tried to be there for me, even when everything was falling apart. This night had unearthed terrible truths, but I knew it was a final act of long-standing horror I'd been living. Waking up in that house tonight was the final cruelty. I wish I had remained unconscious in that room forever. Even the man I had found in that old place was a mystery. Why he was dead or who had done it to him was not something I could even begin to understand. Or why, for that matter, I was in that damned room in the first place. After making it out of those tunnels, I thought those sewers might feel safer. I was wrong. The security tape I had watched showed someone being attacked by what looked like 2 people. But who was it that was attacked? I had found the contents of my wallet scattered throughout town. Why the hell had I been out there? Had my sleepwalking gone to some new extreme? The thought that I couldn't account for my whereabouts but knew I had been to that forest and even Norman's place, well, it was terrifying. I didn't know what that meant, but at least I have recovered my things. Hopefully, I thought, that would cover my tracks, so I wouldn't be blamed for all this. Deep within those woods, though, was where things became truly awful. Finding that notebook only made things worse. Rachel's name had been on that list. So what terrible plot was she a part of? It could have been any Rachel. I mean, Rachel's not exactly an uncommon name. I know several Rachels. There was a similar list of names on that desk back in those tunnels. What was the connection? Whatever had happened, I knew at least that Norman wasn't the one who kept going back to that factory. I hoped it meant that he had nothing to do with that guard's violent end. But who had been rooting through those lockers or drinking in that boarded-up room? After the factory, I thought I might find some solace if I could just get to Norman's store. But all I had found were more horrors and more questions. Now that I really consider it, that's when I should have seen it coming. Poor Norman was dead, but I had no idea what had happened to him. When I had marched through the rain towards home, I desperately clung to the hope that this would end. And I guess in a way it did, but how could I have known how hopeless it was? I had started to feel as disoriented as when I had sleepwalked, to think of it now. Our house used to feel so lively, so warm, but coming into the kitchen I felt only a cold, empty tension. Every terrible thought I had up to that point was suddenly a possibility, but nothing could have prepared me. My wife, dead, ruined, discarded. Rachel's death was a terrible mystery to me, one that would have haunt me forever unless I did something about it. For what solace can a man take in the death of his wife? What comfort can be offered? Rachel had been taken from me, and I might never know why. As I swung open the door and stepped out into the air, I caught the scent of wet grass and fog. Rachel, my beautiful wife, just the thought of her again cold and inert, shook me from head to toe. What would I do now? Who could I turn to? It would only be a matter of time before the police got involved, before the neighbours knew. The front lawn was soft and giving beneath my feet, and I couldn't shake the urge that I shouldn't stand there, but rather that I should run. Okay, well that was Home. I'm not going to play it again. If you guys want to play it and see what endings you get, then that's fine. Obviously, you'd need to do things differently to what I did. But it was pretty interesting. Quite short, and there was a lot of text and not much kind of going on in the game, but it was more of kind of like an exploration type thing, rather than an action heavy game. So if you guys have enjoyed, then don't forget to leave a like, and if you have any suggestions for games you would like me to play in the future, then go ahead and leave a comment below. And until next time, guys, goodbye.